Film, fitness, and finding. Aim high and you just might land on a cloud. Ismail. ¿Hablas español? Echa un vistazo a nuestros episodios del The Keyhole podcast en YouTube y Patreon para ver nuestros subtítulos permanentes en español. And I didn't even talking about TikTok and all of this stuff and all this mess, and I don't know. I'm tired of it. I am. I'm gonna admit it. I'm tired of it, and I just want people to recognize real filmmakers and people that really make an effort.
Yeah,
Things like that.
It's hard because you're competing with fast media, I guess.
Right.
And what filmmaking does is we want to make something that extends past our lifetime. That's the goal. And I think now with today, you're always trying to copy a trend or something.
Right. Yeah.
And it's something that a lot of writers I know, they'll say don't chase a trend.
Yeah.
Because the scripts are getting produced right now, some of them been in motion for the last 3 to 5 or longer years.
Yeah.
They weren't trends.
Yeah.
So I don't follow any trends, but nowadays everybody wants you to follow a trend.
Or really, I was saying that there's a part of me that doesn't want to engage in like TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that because I feel like I'm too grown. And I am. I teach kids when I'm not like doing anything behind the camera or in front of the camera. So me seeing my students pop up and skip class to go film TikToks, and then it's like me jumping on TikTok to do what? I don't know.
Yeah,
it's very strange.
It's hard. I will say there is some nice content on there.
Yeah.
That people make, and there is now what's called vertical movies, where it's like.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah. That's been more of a trend in the last year.
Right.
Because there's been more of an investment for it, because people watch things on their phone.
Yeah.
And there was even this one woman, she had this story that went viral on TikTok, and she ended up getting a Netflix deal to make a movie about it.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So
yes.
it's happening for sure, but again, I always say I met some people who do like social media kind of like skits and stuff. I always tell them there's a very big jump from skits to making movies. And you're being the main character. It's not even just about, and that's kind of why some people don't really buy it on the acting part. But I also try to tell people there's a physical part in filmmaking where it's like actors who you have to warm up to be able to be on set for 10 days or 14 days or 30 days. I was like, it's your first movie and you're talking about you're ready to do a 30-day shoot. No, you're not.
Right.
You're going to be exhausted by the third day.
It's true.
I remember one of my mentors, he said, are you going to be able to give the same energy you did on the first day on the last day?
Right.
It's a very different vibe.
No, that's a fact. That's a fact. Okay. I guess we can commence now. We can start everything now. Hi, everybody. My name is Zakia. This is The Keyhole. The Keyhole is my personal podcast. Yes, The Keyhole. Because it's like a door, and we're unlocking doors.
Sounds good.
Okay. It's supposed to be a bigger metaphor because I went to college, so, I have to let everybody know that I'm smart and that I have my degree.
Okay.
We have Ismail here. He's a director. I would say he's a director extraordinaire. He's a writer. He's a producer. He's an all-around fantastic human being. Handsome black man, certified. He smells good. He smells good. He has a full beard. What else do you want to add?
I'm just create stuff.
He's being very humble today.
I appreciate it.
Okay. Do you want to? I'm sure that I'm not going to have this stuff out until. Oh, it's fine. It's still recording. I'm sure I'm not going to have this stuff out until after the movie comes out. So, Do you want to talk about the Tubi movie so that the Tubi movie so
sure.
people can?
Yeah. So the movie I made is called The Cobbler's Wife. I wanted to just write a movie that show some more art, a little bit of thriller, because we do have dancing scenes in the cobbler's wife. And we also do have a little bit of thriller because it's a movie about a lonely cobbler who built his idea of the perfect woman in the back of his store. And so I wanted to just kind of explore a little bit of about men and possessing women a little bit, but I also have the dynamic that his mother is very possessive of him,
Right.
because his father had passed away. He has to inherit the shop. And so there's a lot of dynamic with him and his mom.
Yeah.
And there's also a dynamic between him and liking this girl named Rachel who comes in the shop and invites him to a work event where they were supposed to hit it off, but
Yeah.
a little stuff happened in the middle of that. And we shot this film in about 7 days.
The whole film?
Yeah. So the film's 1 hour. It was about 65 pages at the beginning, but we cut a little stuff out, but it's 1 hour long. And we shot it in 7 days. And we didn't go not one time over 12 hours.
Wow. So if that doesn't tell you guys that we call him Izzy, y'all can call him Ismail, but we can call him. He's thorough, unlike me dropping the mic. He's thorough, which is one thing that I noticed about you. You're very thorough, very detailed, very precise, nerdy in a very good way. We support Black men being nerdy. Absolutely. But yes, I wanted to kind of have this space on the internet where I'm in film, my degree is in film. So I wanted to have this space where I can talk to filmmakers, film creators, people that work in films behind the scenes, in front of the camera, and just reinforce this niche of us talking about the process, us talking about any like difficulties, any things that, are positive, things that work, things that don't work. And absolutely. Kind of also use this as an opportunity to just give information to people and kind of give information back to young artists. The kids that are like, how do I do this? And like, how do I do this and also feel represented? Like, where do I go to see people that look like me in the field that I desire to be in? I know that when I was in college, they might not like me for saying this, but I'm gonna keep it real. When I was in college, I felt like my professors were like washed up filmmakers, which I know is strong word, because now here I am. I graduated from college 5 years ago, and I'm thinking about getting my master's so I can teach in college.
Right.
At the same time, back then, I was like, well, they're not working on stuff, and like they're here with us, and blah, 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 blah. But now that I'm 5 years out, I've moved to LA, came back, worked behind the scenes, production assistant, crafty, catering, all this other kind of stuff. Now I'm more in front of the camera, doing acting things, more modeling things. I'm like, this isn't as easy as it looks. And people don't consider that, because people have this idea that film and entertainment is a very easygoing profession, and it's very simple. And yes, we have simple moments like this where we can just like, I can bring my action camera and cut it on, and we are literally in a library filming, and we can do a makeshift setup. But then when we talk about things that are more professional and things that are more marketable, that you want to send to like a Netflix, you want to send to a Tubi, you want to send to a Hulu, et cetera, those are things that require more time. Those are things that require more manpower, more discipline, and more direction. So I would love to start off with your origin story. Yes, and just a little bit about who you are and how you got to this point.
Yeah. I guess the best way to say I started off, maybe like the first generation of kids who did it, but I was editing video game compilations called PK videos. I loved RuneScape when I was a kid. And back then I had a Mac, and so there wasn't really much software about Macs. This is like
You had Mac money
my
back then?
parents had Mac money.
Come on,
in
parents.
2006.
Okay, wait.
And yeah, the Mac was like the latest thing.
I know. Wait.
And yeah, I was a kid who was I loved computers. So I was beta testing a bunch of that was the only way to get it, was be an alpha tester or beta tester, because all software was new.
Yes.
So I made up my fake email, said I was over 18, and I was like some of the earliest software developers who were testing all these products out. And so I was able to get software that recorded my computer. Back then, for Mac, it was hard. Even in general, screen recording software was primitive.
Yeah.
But for Mac, it was harder because most people wasn't coding for Mac yet. Now it's everybody is.
Yeah.
But back then, it was rare. Most video games didn't code for Mac. My friends were always playing World of Warcraft and some of the other things.
Wow.
They didn't have a Mac version until much later. So this is 2006. I wanted to be able to make videos. I don't have no camera.
Yeah.
And I screen recorded it with these alpha softwares. I did learn how to download music from YouTube, and I started just cutting my own stuff. And I did it for maybe 5-6 years. I was doing that free time, but my mom wanted me to go to art school, so I went to Blake High School first, and then I wanted to learn more about video editing. So I got introduced to Photoshop, Bryce, Adobe Premiere, and all this other stuff. Then I took my talents to Paintbrush High School, where I worked in a news program, and that was when I learned how to make video productions. And I was writing, producing, and cutting film. But I didn't really want to do any of that. I wanted to just be a video editor through and through. And so what I did was I cut everybody's film. Yeah. So whoever people didn't want to put in the time to cut it, I cut it. All I want to do was just cut film. That was all I want to do. So I cut dozens and dozens of films, like year round, for the morning announcements and our special holiday programs and stuff like that for high school. And I graduated, and I didn't have great grades. I only really like videos. That was the only thing I wanted to do. Yeah. And went to college. I couldn't really take too many video classes in college. I had to kind of relearn how to do education and academia. Yeah. And I finished by the classes I could take, I was way too advanced for them. We had like an intro to video editing, and what they were doing was trying to teach us how to work on like government videos and stuff, because that's kind of the jobs in the area in DC. Yeah. And so they wanted us in the community college to be prepared for that. So I remember the first day we had a test to see what we can do. And the Adobe test, pretty much, it was like cutting like a eagle taking a fish out of the water. Okay. But I remember when I was doing this tutorial, I actually skipped the tutorial. I just looked at the clips and I just assembled them. Then I remember when I was looking at the clips, I looked at audio and said, this audio is incorrect. And I fixed the audio, and then I raised my hand 20 minutes later, and I told teacher, I said, I'm done. She said, you're not done. You don't understand what you're doing. Right. And so then she looked at video. She was like, okay, you just put the clips together, but I know you didn't get the video right because the sound's supposed to be wrong. She looked and saw I fixed the sound, and she said, this isn't your first time doing it. I said, no. And so after that, because that video production class is 3 hours, she has said, I'm allowed to skip the first 1.5 hours of class.
Not she getting special treatment?
Because she said there was no point because they're learning how to do the tools. Yeah. I already knew all the tools. So she said just skip the lecture and just come in and finish the assignment. So I would be somewhere else in campus doing something else. And I finished that. And then I took my skills to Towson University, where I then met Seth and everything else. And and then I finished my degree. Took me 1 year. I couldn't find any film jobs. I had no idea. I was actually on Indeed.com looking for film production jobs.
That's not the place to go.
That's not the place to go. That doesn't work.
It doesn't.
It doesn't work. But it happened. It took 370 some days after college. I looked every day. I had my email signed up, and every day they'll send me a film production job. Now, any word in Indeed that has the word film, it's going to send it to you. Yeah. And those were film jobs. Right. But it did happen. I saw production assistant. And by this time, I had pretty much I had worked at gyms. I had my own training business. I was
You
in an
were a gym
office.
runner?
I was always in the gym 24/7. I did bodybuilding shows and everything.
You did bodybuilding shows?
Yeah, I've done 3 bodybuilding shows.
Did you win?
I didn't win it overall, but I have won my class before. But I've done bodybuilding shows, and by that time, I was working at a LA Fitness where my job was to give clients to I was overseeing the training program there.
Yeah.
And so when I had gotten this production assistant job, which was actually, the interview was in the library.
Oh.
I came in a suit, and everybody else was like in like hats and stuff, but I wanted the job so bad. And I met this director, her name is Reds, and she was like, just tell me what days you can work and you could come. And so I quit my job, actually, and I worked on this production for free. And I used all my savings for this because I told my mom, and I was like, I found they're actually filmmakers. Like, I told my mom, I was like, these are film, like, they have a camera. They have like, I was like, I've never seen this. Like, it's so big. They had like an RV that was kind of like used like a trailer.
Okay, yeah.
And there was like 40, 50 people on set, and there was so much going on. And that was when I met Dawn. Like, I saw everything, and I was like, Mom, this is it. This is it. I was like, I have to do this.
Yes.
And so that's why I quit my job, because I was like, I have to get on set. I have to talk to people and make connections. And I did. I made sure. After that, I never struggled finding a production or anything ever since.
Wow.
And they threw me in the movie because an actor dropped out, and they looked around. They said, "Oh, you look good enough to be an actor," and they gave me some lines, and I did the most craziest thing, and that's how I ended up on BET's Bundles. That was my first acting gig.
What?
Yeah.
Yes, you were, because you were telling me you did some acting stuff.
I did a lot. I act for many years. I still act.
Really?
Yeah, I did over 30 films of acting, and I've been on many different sets. And I've also just recently, I was in New York during the Black Box Theater during New York Fashion Week, where the pieces of the fashion come to life, and the person wrote a script about it. And so we did a production in front of about 400 people on 7th Broadway.
I didn't know Izzy was this accomplished.
I'm not
this learned, this experienced. Okay, I feel like I've learned so much about you. Wow. So you got a like a long road ish. Feels like a long road.
It's been long. I worked with this one agency. It was the first Black SAG franchise agency in the country. They have 3 offices in every region: New York, Atlanta, and California, and Chicago, I believe, too. And I worked with them for a while, but the scripts I came from like Netflix and some of these other things, I didn't really like the directions of these the Black characters and the direction of the Black males in general in these scripts, because it felt more forced or thrown in.
Right.
And that inspired me to write. This was back in 2022. I remember I had gotten a script that just made me upset. Like, I think the character was such a joke,
right?
And the other characters were like cool,
right?
And like, but mine was like making jokes and had no shirt and like, And I thought to myself, I said, "Nah, this can't be it." And I dedicated to just learning how to write and read better and everything. And fast forward, I went out and I just started. I'm one of those people who knock on doors. I just started emailing people like to teach me. So I just found as many WGA members as I could and PGA members, because once I started learning how to write, I was like, okay, now I can find a director or a producer. And people weren't trying to do that. They were like, well, I want a lot of money. And I was like, I don't have that. Right. So I was like, all right, well, I'm going to learn how to produce then. So I bought production books and business books and learned how to make a business plan and learn how to start production and tax incentives and everything. And I was listening to lectures and bother other PGA members for more questions. Then I said, okay, now I know how to produce. I was learning how to direct. And thank God I knew Seth, and Seth kind of showed me the ropes how this kind of works with directing. I did read about it, but it's different from reading to practical use. And Seth kind of fostered a lot of my imagination. And me and Seth has now made 3 things together. But I'm still learning in my style, but after that, I just said, all right, now we kind of do this. I had about almost 30 grand in savings because I was going to go to California was the goal. I had worked.
Oh, that 30 grand was going to be gone in
an instant.
In LA.
So I thought about it and I said, well, you either go to California and roll the dice that something happens,
right?
Or right now that I know people who have cameras. I'm talking about, $60,000 cameras, and they work films 24/7,
right?
And we can make stuff here right now.
Yeah.
And I think personally I did the right gamble.
Yeah.
Because now I've done a short feature film, documentary, and a commercial since 2022, 23.
Right.
But if I went California,
it wouldn't have.
It might have not even happened because for there, when you're younger, you have to like merge into an ecosystem.
Yes.
And I didn't want to be a PA or asking the institutions to fund my thing because I might have still never had gotten funded or made anything.
Absolutely.
Yet, and I would still been someone's assistant.
Yeah.
Meanwhile here, it's a totally different vibe. I'm not someone's assistant. There's people more so asking me for more opportunities or what next things I got going on.
Yeah.
And I've been actively pursuing hiring more Black people in front of the camera because of just my frustrations of being an actor.
Yeah.
Statistically, from a McKinsey study, less than 6% of above the line roles. So writer, producer, and director.
Right.
Less than that is 6% that are a different race than white in the entire industry. So about 94% of the industry
is white.
Yeah. While less than 6%, and this includes Black women, Black men, Native, Hispanic,
Asian, everything.
6%. So that's how small it is in order to get these jobs, and that's how small we're represented in the whole industry.
Yeah.
And statistically, if someone isn't a person of color inside that circle of writer, director, or producer, you most likely will not get a job.
Yeah.
And that's just how it is. That was a conclusion of that study.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing that's interesting is from that study, they said they're leaving about $10 billion on the table, not funding more people of color's projects in the entire industry. And so the issue with that is kind of just shows that they really don't want to if they're leaving all this money on the table, especially people who want to make money.
Okay.
Meanwhile, we're seeing some of these films bombing or not even getting really made or finished.
Yeah.
We're still asking for a Blade film,
Right.
And we haven't even gotten that.
Right.
And that's kind of why a lot of Black filmmakers didn't want people to shy away from some of these more Black superhero films, because we kind of knew if certain films didn't get made or bombed, they were going to keep holding out and making Blade. And now here we are 5 years later.
Yeah.
There's no Blade.
Right.
And it was announced 5 years ago.
Right.
And they have not only one of the greatest actors breathing right now, Mahershala Ali, but how do you fumble someone who is an Oscar winner?
Right.
How do you fumble someone? First of all, if he was out there and he was attached to my film, I promise you we're going to have a script ready to go.
Okay. Right.
And so my thing is they were just fumbling great talent, and wasting his time.
Yes.
Because I believe he would have made a great Blade and I would have watched it. I would have loved it.
Absolutely.
But that was just kind of my thing, the way I kind of see the framework of the industry. So it's we either create it or you're just constantly waiting for someone else to give you an opportunity, and those only going to come. I mean, the amount of chips that got to be right for that to happen for us is very, very low. Even some of the greatest, from Spike Lee, from Denzel, their projects sometimes can go up, know, and that's just kind of the reality of things.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I appreciate you talking about the statistics aspect of it and the percentages aspect of it, because I don't think that people really acknowledge that specifically, because we as Black people, Black, African American, however it is you want to describe yourself, when we think of the industry, we can sit here and name 20 Black actors.
Of course.
But as soon as we step into another arena or we step into another room, we can't. Right. Or other people cannot.
Right.
And so there is that notion of like Hollywood versus Black Hollywood.
Yeah.
And at times us versus them. And at times that push and pull of, you know what, that's fine. Like, you don't want to do it, we gonna do it. That, like, don't even worry about it. It's fine. I really want you to talk about opportunities for Black actors, artists, directors, producers, filmmakers, writers, everybody outside of LA, because it's something that I wish I was more aware of.
Mm-hmm.
So a little bit about my background. My dad was a photographer when I was growing up, so he had me in front of the camera a lot. And when I got older and I graduated from high school and I was in college, when I was a sophomore in college, my second semester from my sophomore year, I transferred schools and I was at Hofstra University for a semester. And I was in New York and I had a car, so I started modeling because if you know anything about Hofstra, it's real white. It's real white up there. Very, very white. It's Long Island, New York, so it's very white. And I didn't have any friends. I wasn't making friends. I wasn't really talking to anybody. It was a very interesting experience. So I started modeling and getting in front of the camera and working TFP shoots and exclusively working with Black photographers and just trying to help people build their portfolio. And I feel like that spirit has kind of followed me. At that point I was 19, now I'm 28. So that spirit has definitely followed me, where if Black people are doing it, I'm like, let's go. I'm like, what are we doing?
Right.
But when I moved to LA wasn't my initial plan. My initial plan was to move to New York, but it was the middle of the pandemic. It was May 2020. And I said, you know what? LA is going to have opportunities and it's spread out. So I don't have to worry about feeling like I'm going to get sick. Plus, LA was very strict on regulations for film sets. Yeah. Having to be vaccinated, having to have all your booster shots, having to wear a mask, having to maintain distance, all of that kind of stuff. And just like you said, LA is a place where the business is so big, you can get trapped in everything and you can kind of get locked into place. Yeah. And I remember talking to other Black people on set, I reached the point where I didn't even care anymore because I was a production assistant. I didn't care if it was makeup. I didn't care if it was hair. I didn't care if it was the producer. I didn't care if it was the cameraman and he had the gimbal on and everything. I'm tapping people on the shoulder like, hey, how'd you do this? How'd you get into that? And I'll never forget it. I remember I had one experience with a producer, I believe he was. And I said, I would love to learn like how you got into this and stuff like that and so on and so forth. And he laughed in my face. He laughed in my face and he said, oh, you want to do what I can do? You can never be me. You can never do what I can do. And he was an older Black man. And I was so shocked. And it wasn't until that instance that I realized that being Black in Hollywood, especially behind the scenes, is just as competitive as being in front of the camera.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of the Keyhole podcast with me, Zakia, and my special guest for the day, Ismail Bronson. Okay, please make sure that you go and follow him on Instagram for sure, but I believe he's across most social media platforms, and that is at ISMAILQBRONSON. Okay, you can follow Izzy on social media if you like, if you dare. And the question for the day is, what's your favorite movie? So I feel like my favorite movie of all time would have to be like Kill Bill, right? Love Quentin Tarantino. My favorite maybe like kids movie, Matilda. Love Matilda, eat down on some Matilda, okay? And on that note, thank you so much for joining me. I had a great time. I hope you guys had a great time. And hopefully I'll see you guys soon. Gracias por estar aquí. Bye.